Hello, my name is Daniil. I'll be proving the correctness of iRoot. So first, let's prove the following invariants. I chose invariant R belongs to integers, R greater than or equal to 0, and R squared less than or equal to n. By the base case, invariant 0 follows because 0 belongs to integers, 0 is greater than or equal to 0, and 0 squared is less than or equal to n since n is greater than or equal to 0 by the precondition. For the induction step, we say let R equal to R naught for some loop iteration, assume invariant R naught, and also assume R naught plus 1 squared is less than or equal to n. This is so we can ensure that the loop actually runs, so we can do our induction. So now let R equal to R1 be the value of R immediately after iteration. Then R1 belongs to integers, and R1 is greater than or equal to 0. These two statements are true because we know that R1 is just going to be incremented, and so that's R1 equal to R naught plus 1. And because we assumed invariant R naught, we know that R naught belongs to integers, and R naught is greater than or equal to 0. So, and that tells then that clearly R1 is greater than or equal to 0 and belongs to integers. Now the third statement, R1 squared less than or equal to n, we know that because we take this statement, square both sides, and by this assumption here that the loop runs, we know that R1 squared will be less than or equal to n. So that proves invariant R. Now we just need to prove that the algorithm, that the program actually satisfies the post condition upon termination. So we're not assuming that the program terminates, we're going to assume that the program terminates, but we haven't actually proven that yet. We'll get to that in a second with the variant. But for now, we're just going to prove that it returns the correct value. So what do we know when the loop ends? Well, when the loop ends, we know that if the loop ends, I suppose, we know that R plus 1 squared is greater than n. This is because otherwise the loop would just continue running. Now chaining together this piece from our invariant and this here, we know then that R is less than or equal to n is less than R plus 1 squared. And what is this? Oh, this is just the definition of the integer square root of n. Great. So we've proven that R satisfies this. I did mention some smaller details, how R is a positive integer and n is a positive integer. Those you can, I think, clearly look back based on the precondition and invariant. But basically, we know that R, this should be R squared. So we know that clearly that R satisfies the definition, and since we're returning R immediately after, the program will satisfy the post condition. Okay, so what's next? What's next is to prove that the program actually terminates. So we have variant nr v equals n minus r. So that's the variant I'm going to use here to prove that the loop terminates. So what do we need to show? We need to show that v decreases on every iteration. Why? So now why is that the case? Well, it's because n is going to always remain the same, and r is always going to be incremented by 1 for every loop iteration. So clearly, v is just going to decrease by 1 for every loop iteration, so it's always decreasing. For 2, we need to show that v is always a natural number. So how do we show that? Well, we can show that by first noting that n and r are natural numbers, and from that, we can also show that n minus r is always greater than or equal to 0. How do we do that? Well, take r squared less than or equal to n. That's just from our invariant for r. And taking the square root of both sides, this gives us r is less than or equal to square root of n is less than or equal to n. Clearly, this just tells us then that r is less than or equal to n, and therefore n minus r is greater than or equal to 0. Clearly then v belongs to the natural numbers. So since our variant is bounded below and is always decreasing, we know that the loop must terminate, and therefore our program will terminate because all of our other steps are simple. So that's it. Thank you for your consideration.